Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sell More Book Show, episode 561. I'm Brian Cohen from Best Page Forward, joined by author and creator of decadent romance novels, very successful Kickstarters, and a wearer of many hats, Willow Winters. How are you today, Willow?
Hi, I'm doing well. I have a little bit of a cough that might come through during a little thunder action.
That's
We'll
okay.
find out. But I'm doing great. And, it's winter. It was just my birthday and the holidays. And I'm like riding that happiness.
Oh, that's amazing. Ride it. Because it's tough. It's darker out. There's not as much sunlight.
Exactly.
We got to ride what we've got.
I'm a beach girly, so I survived the winter.
Yeah, I understand. I used to live in Chicago, so it was the opposite. There was a beach there, but, it's not a real beach.
Yes.
So it's a fake beach. It's a fake beach. I'm so glad you're here. I have made the effort over the last year to connect more with authors who are just doing incredible things. And whether it be me asking people like, hey, who should I have on the show? Or just like what I hear around the community, like you with your amazing Kickstarter campaigns that seem to grow with each one. And you're in the middle of one right now. Am I right?
I have 6 days left.
6 days left. Awesome. We'll make sure people know where to find that. Your subscription boxes, your mystery boxes, just being like a nice person. I was chatting with Raven Storm the other day, and she was like, oh my gosh, I brought too many books, and Willow let me cry on her shoulder and saved my books and all of this stuff.
She's the sweetest. It was lovely. That was at Author Nation. It was lovely seeing her.
Yeah. She's fantastic. And so, you see people's character by the things that they do. So your kindness shines through. What is it?
Thank you. I have to say
you're welcome.
Thank you. That makes me really happy because my love language is acts of service. So I often it makes me really happy that it's like, I don't know. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. You're very welcome. And for all these reasons, I wanted to have you on the show. I mean, you are going to lots of events. You are doing lots of social media.
Oh, all day, every day.
All day, every day.
I love social media.
How did you fall in love with social media?
Well, I think I think everything happened very organically. Even my therapist suggests that I should write every day because of its effect on me.
Yeah.
But I needed to write. I felt like I needed to write, and I wanted to write to find myself again. 8 years ago, stay-at-home mom, a little baby. I read the entire time I was pregnant. I had a toddler. We were broke as a joke. And I sold Clinique. I was a beauty consultant. I delivered newspapers. I worked for Tupperware. Like I always did odds and ends. I had an Etsy shop with my first son where I sold like sewn diapers and diapers, and I painted on the butts of them and like glow in the dark and stuff. So I was always very entrepreneurial. Even in high school, I had like an Etsy shop with Tear Bears, scrapbooking thing. So when I had these stories in my head, a friend said, well, why don't you just self-publish them? Because I had queried, and of course, nobody responded because who am I? I'm nobody, right?
Yeah.
I made my own covers. It was awful. It was so bad. But, the learning curve and everything. And I think everything fell into place because I was trying to find myself. And it's just been with social media. I do what makes me happy, even though psychology, and research says, it really affects your mood in a negative way.
Right.
And you should not do it first thing in the morning. But that's exactly what I do. First thing in the morning, I'm right on social media, posting, and just, I don't know, I just love it.
Well, I think, and we've had Becca Syme on the show. We recently had Heather Hildenbrand on the show, and
I love both of them.
I know.
They're amazing. I also signed up for Becca Syme's course because I was too overwhelmed. And then I was too busy to take the course.
Oh, no.
I know. That was like 3 years ago. So I'm going to sign up again and actually take it because
Do it.
I love everything that she says.
Do it. And some of the stuff she says is, look, she's not a big advocate of social media in the morning, but she is a big advocate of do the things that come naturally, do the things that bring you joy. And she spoke at a conference I had recently where she was saying how based, kind of like the reason for things like Clifton Strengths is they have done studies that if you're already good at something and you already like it, and then you get better at it, your potential for getting better at it is something like 30 to 100 times more likely to succeed than someone who's not skilled at it. So the fact that you like doing it, the fact that you are good at it, made it so that you could be a person with 700,000 TikTok followers.
Yes. Hopefully it remains.
I
If
know.
not, there will be something else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's also a book for the listeners out there called Tribes. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Same kind of thing. I absolutely love that book, and it changed the way that I thought about saying no and about finding people who say yes to the things that I say no to.
I love that. Awesome. Tribes. Go check it out, everybody. Yeah. Let's get into today's show proper. We're going to get into a lot more about you, Willow. Yay. So before we move on, I have a webinar coming up on January 15th and 17th called 3 Ways to Scale Your Book Sales. It's about Amazon ads and Facebook ads and writing faster. The link will be in the show notes. I think we just got our 1,000th registrant, so people are excited. Yeah. A couple weeks ago, we had a question, and I think I'm going to ask you this too, Willow, which is, what is on your suck list that you hate to do and hope to automate? Liberty Spidel Hart said, lately my sucktastic author job is editing my dictated chapters. I've been dictating straight into Scrivener with my iPhone or iPad, and Siri is not a good transcriber. Sometimes the typos are hilarious, sometimes just plain old nonsensical. Been there. Yeah, Siri is not the best at that. I actually pay for transcriptions because I'm too lazy to learn the AI tools, but then they always get it right, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth it to give it to somebody else. 100%. And that's actually my answer is if I don't like something, it doesn't matter what it is, I give it to somebody on my team. I have over 12 employees. My assistant has 2 assistants. So if something comes my way and it's good for the business, but it's not for me, I'm literally boop, like nope, it's not for me. And it goes back to what we were just talking about too, with Tribes and Becca Symes and all of the research out there. So I started doing this last year. And it's really paid off immensely in terms of like my creative freedom now, the time that I have to write and to do the things that I'm supposed to be doing. So there's a lot. Customer service emails, though, are the one thing that really suck.
Get them out. Get them out.
We have 3 people who handle them because one person sometimes, some of the messages, they can really be like very nasty, and then you respond with kill them with kindness, and they're like the sweetest thing ever. And it's like they forget sometimes that they're emailing a human being, and like there's a logical explanation for things, or yes, UPS said that it was delivered, but it wasn't, but it came the next day by the time that we respond. So that's one thing where it really does not affect my mentality well. So I have a team who can handle it, but they literally rely on each other because sometimes messages come in that they can't handle. So they pass that off or take time out before responding. Yeah,
I have 2 to 3 people handling our customer service emails too.
How it can be.
I know how it can be, and there's an old story. I forget what it was in. It was a book I read where a person felt really, really bad. Like an email came in that was super upset, and they wrote like a whole 10-page thing and said they would refund them and did all this stuff. And then the person said, "Oh, I didn't even know you were going to read that. I was just pissed off about life."
Exactly. And people do that all the time, even like social media DMs and stuff. The number of Bravo celebrities that will share, like people writing the nastiest things, and then they respond with thanks or something, and the person's like, "Oh my God, hi, I love you." What?
People are just so strange.
Social media, that's I'm sure there's plenty of research about that behavior.
Oh yeah, I'm certain. And couple people said on their suck list, Randy and Anne-Marie both said newsletters. And I get it. A lot of people really don't like it. But there are people out there who can help. So always remember that there's author and PA meet and greet type groups. Go find someone, hand it off.
Exactly. So my Sophie, she's my rock. She's my VPO, started as PA, now VPO. And she does them, and then I just review it before it goes out. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more you can do that with, the better. Absolutely. Let's get into the top story of the week, Trendy 2025. According to experts consulted by Written Word Media, here are some of the top trends in publishing for 2025. With so much new content published every day, it's become even more important to cultivate personal connections with readers. Quote, reader relationships and special events or products will be a very important way to stand out, says Elizabeth Ann West, CEO of Future Fiction Academy. Quote, by sharing their journey and advocating authentically, authors can transform casual readers into loyal advocates who engage with their work and spread their work to others, end quote. With the future of TikTok still up in the air, many authors will focus on bolstering their presence on other platforms. Quote, while TikTok's fate is uncertain, one lesson remains clear. Relying too heavily on one single platform leaves authors vulnerable to sudden market changes, says Written Word's Emma Boyer. With these things in mind, it should be no surprise that authors will focus more on email than ever before as a way to stay connected with readers. Quote, compared to social media, email boasts higher open rates and conversion potential, making it a cost-effective and reliable way to generate sales and deepen reader relationships, says Boyer. One exciting change in the increase in print-on-demand services and features, ironically brought about by increased costs and timeframes of traditional printing. Quote, the rising costs of print production, driven by persistent tariffs and ongoing supply chain disruptions, are presenting significant challenges, says Boyer. Over the past few years, more print-on-demand services have answered the call, with self-published authors taking full advantage of the features that only short runs can provide, like sprayed edges, limited edition, hardcovers, and other special features. The publishing industry in 2025 might have some big challenges for authors as they adapt to AI and other new technologies, even as others allow them to build more loyal readers while staying true to their creative visions. Sadly, I was not consulted about this article. The last 5 years, I think I had been. I must not be a 1%er anymore.
No.
Willow, it's okay though. I'll get
I have
over
a
it.
million things to say about it, though.
Let's dive into that. What are your thoughts?
First of all, I've hugged over 5,000 readers this past year. I agree 100% that personal connection means so very much, not only to readers, but to me, it fills my cup up to see so many people and really keeps me going. I don't know how authors used to do it prior to social media and having this more belly to belly contact with readers. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, there was something else that was immediately after. With relying on one social media platform, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm literally everywhere. I'm on things I don't even know what they are, but I messaged and she's a friend who turned into, doing a little bit of work for me, and I'll message her and just say, hey, just saw this app exists. Could you make an account and put my content on it? And then and I don't even know what it is. I might not even have the app downloaded, but I have a presence there. And
That's
I think
amazing.
It's important to at least get your handle name, right? At least be there, be present. Right. I remember when I joined TikTok, it was actually when I stopped being very active in a lot of groups, because I'd made my subscription boxes, and a lot of authors who I love so very much said it was a waste of time.
We're gonna touch more on that too.
Oh, so many things where I'm like, I'm sharing data, I'm showing them what I'm doing, I'm talking about, all of this stuff that I'm, things that I'm in the process of doing, and there's so much negativity and so much that's a waste of time, that's a waste of money. You should be focused on the same thing that everybody else is focused on. And I know I'm a little bit weird, but I love them so much. And then I joined TikTok and I showed them and I said, there's something there. And they said, this was in 2019 or 2020. And they said, isn't that where girls dance? Like, you shouldn't be putting your time there. And I was like, well, you could hire somebody to do it. And they were like, I'd rather put that money on ads. And I was just like, I don't think this is good for, again, my love language is acts of service.
Right.
So it was like getting that rejected feeling. So it was like, I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing anymore. I'm going to talk about what I've done.
Yeah.
And that is received so much better. And I think that there's like a psychology between saying like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I expect. These are early results. There's a lot of people who, if you don't want to do it or you don't have time or you want to see a reason not to, you're going to come up with that, right? And it's not
Right.
necessarily about me. It's for them and the way they handle things. But with that being said, I've started a lot of projects that haven't gone places before.
Yeah.
Right. I like to take the risk and I like to put things out there. So now I just stay with the, this is what I've done. Take a look. Even
Right.
though by the time I can say that, a lot of other people have already caught on and are often doing the same
But
thing.
you've had first mover advantage on some of those things, on a lot of those things. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons you have so many TikTok followers. You started back when it was probably just changed from Musically, and it
It was,
was, yeah. And
I was
so,
doing the trend with my son. I remember one of the first TikToks I did was where we were stuck in the house, right? And I didn't even know I was pregnant yet, but my son Jax, there was a trend where you hold your husband's hand with your son in between or your child in between, and you do this, and then you flip the kid.
yeah,
And I thought it was so much fun, and Jax loved it. So I was like, well, let me put this on there. And those were the kinds of things back then that I was doing. I was just
yeah,
having fun with it, learning the app. And then I saw once it became book talk, right? Like I was present for the rise of book talk when it was fantasy, and then it turned spicy, and then we had spicy book talk. Then we got shadow banned,
yep, of
all of
course.
that. I was around for it all. And then you saw authors come on and try to just post, but not know the app. They didn't know what trends were. They weren't present. They weren't like, and you could kind of tell. And I was like, just look at what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know. Just copy me. It's okay.
Hey, just copy. That's what the app is,
Right.
It's not a trend for a reason. So yeah, I
Yeah.
was like,
I mean, I think you brought up such a good point about the self-fulfilling prophecy of people finding reasons that something won't work, and then it doesn't work for them, and then
see, I told you it wasn't going to work. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, with that attitude, it was
yeah,
not going to work. I'm very much a woo-woo manifester also, which is also why I prioritize what do I like, what do I want, that's what I'm going to do, and
yeah,
because that will be done. Like,
yeah, yeah. Lisa Vino was saying to me at a retreat I was running, I know she's so great. How do
yeah,
we make it easy? How do we make it fun?
exactly. Yeah. And if it's not easy and it's not fun, give it to somebody else.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I made a matrix at that retreat that was like the joy and profit matrix. If it brings you joy and profit, definitely do it.
Yeah.
If it brings you joy but no profit, still make some time for it. If it's no profit, no joy, get rid of it.
Yeah.
If it's no joy but yes profit, give it to somebody else.
I love that. That's the perfect matrix.
Oh, thank
Everybody
you.
should write that down.
Go write it down. Go make it. Put it on a shirt.
Exactly.
So we're going to go into these hot potato wisdom questions. So what should authors who are relying really heavily on TikTok do? I mean, there is the fear.
There's the fear. And I think it's, I'll try to keep this PG-13. A show of, how do you say dick size in a PG-13 web?
Right. No, it's a measuring contest.
It's a measuring
We'll
contest.
call it a measuring contest.
And nobody really knows what's going to happen, right? Because you have conversations that we're not a part of occurring and all sorts of things, and who knows what's going to happen. But there's an app called repurpose.io. Yep. And it will automatically save all of your content into Dropboxes for you. It will also automatically post all the content that you posted into TikTok onto other platforms for you automatically. Nice. So you at least have your content in case it does go away. And then I agree with whoever it was who made that quote about being in multiple platforms. TikTok 5 years ago wasn't on any, or I guess 6 years ago now, wasn't on anybody's mind. Right. In 6 years from now, there's going to be another app that is viral and everybody's on it, and then everybody's not on it, right? We are going to have MySpace. Facebook is still a great contender for me in terms of profit and being able to keep in touch with readers, which might surprise a lot of authors, but it's my #1 converter on my website for my direct sales. So even though I only have, I think, 300 or 400,000 on Facebook, 200,000 on Instagram, 700,000 on TikTok, and still Facebook is beating TikTok. And a lot of it
Right.
has to do with TikTok Shop, and I'm not present on TikTok Shop. And if I was, I think money would be different there, but there's reasons why I'm not. But yeah, just be present, be consistent, hold on to your content, and something else is going to happen if TikTok goes away. And TikTok might go away for a minute, and then it might be sold, you know, if they want to put pressure in order to try to get a higher price point or something of that nature. You never
Right.
know what's going to happen. You can't control it, so let it be.
Love it. Love it. You've got a question for me here in this hot potato wisdom section. Do you have it up ready?
I don't have it up and ready.
Okay, go pull it up. I'm going to ask it to myself, and then you'll be ready for the next one.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So the question, I'm going to pretend to be you. So, Bryan, what trend do you see having a big impact on authors in 2025? Well, thanks, Willow. No, just being silly.
Yes.
Yeah. No. So I really think that everything that authors have given up on in the past, like obviously people are really big on special editions right now, and they're really big on figuring out a way to automate with AI and all these things that are really, really exciting in 2025, the shiny objects. We have to always remember, what are the shiny objects from 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, because things are overvalued when they're shiny and undervalued when they're forgotten about.
Oh, almost like Facebook.
Yeah. Facebook. I mean, I know another author who has 1 million followers on Facebook and sold 1 million books this year because Facebook is undervalued.
It is. So is YouTube Shorts.
Yes.
I think 100%. A lot of TikTok, like I am still shocked that Book Talk has not fully gone into YouTube Shorts and
yeah.
You know, what do they call it? Shorts, book shorts. What I
book
forget
shorts? I don't know. Yeah,
I'm on there though.
There should be something.
And
yeah,
I did have 100,000 followers, and I got my play button, and then they permanently banned me for having my audiobooks on there.
Boo, YouTube.
I know. I had no idea. I was like, you could have shot me an email.
But you got the button. You still got the play button.
It's still in the box. I didn't even have time to open it. It was literally in the same week. I got the play button, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to video opening it. And then I got permanently banned, and I'm like, well, do I throw this in the trash? What do I do?
Yeah, I know. Oh my goodness.
I'll make an altar of my failures, and I'll put that.
The altar of failures. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Altar of wins. That's what I should call it.
Oh, that's nice. That's way more optimistic.
I'm trying. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. All right, well, we're ready for this lightning round.
I'm ready.
That means it's time for this lightning thunder sound.
Yes.
Go for it. Oh, that was a good start.
Is that good? Was that
I thought that was real good.
Okay, good.
I thought that was really good.
It was an angry one.
That did sound angry. Like a thunder snow sort of thing.
Yeah. Really outside.
I know. I know. It's perfect. So, Willow, you've created 7 Kickstarter projects, with the latest one over $200,000 funded at the time of recording. How many projects do you feel like it took you to really hit your stride as a special edition Kickstarter maker person?
It took 2. The first one was a learning lesson, and I'm really good at dissecting things. I almost didn't make it, the first one. I don't know if people know that, but I made my goal. I put my goal, I think, at 35,000. I made it on the last day.
Oh my gosh.
Kickstarter. Yes. I didn't have educational graphics made. This was 4 years ago, or it might be 5 years ago now that I did my first Kickstarter. A lot of readers had no idea what it was. You know, people are seeing the Kickstarter does not guarantee, and they're like, well, why would I pay this money for a book that I don't know if I'm going to get? A lot of people wouldn't back anything until I hit the goal, because it said, well, this isn't happening because it didn't hit the goal, so I'm not going to, you know, so I was fighting a lot of things. I also didn't do the pre-promo where, you're gaining your followers. So I was like, let me just see what this is. Struggled with it, figured it out. And then I was able to do it. So I ordered the books. And then I had all these books left over. And I was like, well, let me do it again. I think I know what I'm doing now. And the next one hit 6 figures.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. I did a
That's
much better
awesome.
job the second one.
Yeah. Well, you gotta learn those lessons. The first Kickstarter I ever did failed. The second one barely made it. Third one did much better. It
That's the
takes
way it
time.
happens. And I think people, they're not even afraid of failure. They're afraid of people watching them fail.
Yes.
And I have learned to love people watching me fail because I'm like, well, now we all know. Let's get up. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
So if you can fall in love with failure, you're going to do so much better mentally and also in profit wise. So both that matrix, that profit and joy,
Mm-hmm.
failure is fine. Failure is a lesson. It's just a stepping stone to getting what you want.
Love it. Love it. All right. You've got a question for me. Are you ready?
I do. I am ready. Co-host asks, how can you tell when you're ready to kickstart special edition books with premium features?
So when you are starting out, I think there's a temptation to do all the fancy stuff. And if you have a little bit of money, like you have a full-time job, you're like, hey, well, I can kind of shortcut this. I've got some money. I can throw it into my local printer and do this stuff. And you absolutely can. You can do what makes you happy, but it can be really helpful if you spend some of that time and some of that money building your audience first and checking in with them. It's okay to ask them questions and ask them what they like. And if none of them say they like collecting special editions and none of them say they like doing that, then maybe you haven't built that audience quite big enough. And
I do have a counter to that, though.
Oh, I love a counter. So that's my thoughts. Willow's thoughts now.
So on Kickstarter, I do notice about half of the people buying aren't my audience. They're Kickstarter's audience. And I'm gathering that audience from providing something that they want. So even if your own audience is like, I don't know, you could throw it up and see. There's nothing wrong with throwing it up and see. There was an author I was on a panel with who said that she launched I think it was like a futuristic zombie something or another.
Yeah.
And it's not in her wheelhouse. And she was like, I'm just going to put it up on Kickstarter. It was her best release. Done. And she didn't think it was going to do well at all. And instead she had an amazing release through a platform that she wasn't used to launching her books on. And it's just because she was like, well, let me just throw it up and see. And I think that there's a lot of beauty with like, if you want it, there's somebody out there that does. You might not know them yet. You might not reach them, but shout as loud as you can. And, you know, some people, your audience may be like, that's not for me. When are you doing this? But then you're going to grow your audience for things that you love too. So, but this is also coming from an author who goes against the grain because I do not stick to one genre. I do not stick to one thing. I'm always bebopping around. So, yeah. No,
that's awesome. I love the counterpoint. So thank you.
Of course.
That's why you're here, because you're so smart.
Thank you. It's just an idea. Yeah.
Right. So we already kind of addressed this, but did people think you were crazy when you said you were going to create subscription boxes for your special edition books?
They did. They told me it was a waste of my time. It was a waste of money, that it wasn't profitable. You should be focused on selling. At the time, ebooks was everything was ebooks. And I just thought, I have this IP and I have an ebook, a paperback. I could make a hardback. I could make an alternative. I could make merch. I could make all of these things. The ebook has the lowest profit margin. And everybody says I should spend all of my money to push the lowest profit margin to make the most amount of money, just because the rest of it isn't easy. And I was like, I don't really care if it's not easy. Like if I, and now I have a whole warehouse with dozens of people, but we're seeing the industry build and people are talking right now where it will be easy for authors, where you can essentially just sign up onto an app, put your products on, and they'll ship the stuff for you.
Yep.
And that's going to be beautiful. And it's all in the works right now. And we're watching it happening. And I'm like, this makes more logical sense from a business standpoint. Is it more difficult? Yes. It was. I think it's easier now than it was, and it's going to get even easier. But it just made sense to me. So getting that negativity, I don't think a single person said it was a good idea.
Right.
You know what? When Walt Disney made Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was the first one, he had to mortgage or get a lien on his house. His wife told him it was a bad idea, and all of his friends said, "What are you doing?" You know, but sometimes you just got to do what you want to do. And I really wanted to do it because I like it. I think I am my market. So
Yeah.
if I like it, I'm going to do it.
I love that.
And I have a question for you.
All right. I'm ready.
How do you know when it's worth taking the risk?
Well, I think you brought up a really good point, which is if you care deeply about something
Yeah.
and there's a risk related to it, you're a lot more likely to see it through, because when you care about something, you're willing to get better at it, you're willing to fail and keep going. But not every risk is necessarily worth taking. I think there's the old Warren Buffett quote, when everyone is greedy, be fearful, and when everybody is fearful, be greedy. Taking a risk on something that 1,000 or 10,000 people are all trying all at the same time is very much like the California gold rush. A lot of prospectors did not find any gold because there were so many people already there. So if you're going to take a risk, do it in a direction you care deeply about, where there is a chance of success, that there aren't 10,000 people all trying to do it all at the same time.
100%. And a good way, Laura Lynn Page gave a presentation at Romance Author Mastermind before COVID, forever ago. And she had a chart on the board, and she said, I looked at the bestsellers and I put, here's all the dark romance authors, here's the types of covers, here's the price points. These 2 areas are blank. I'm going to publish there. And literally filling the hole and and looking at the market of what you like and what is needed.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Now I'm going to go check her out.
Wonderful. She also
Nice.
said to me years ago, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
She also said to me years ago, work will take as much time as you give it. And that stayed with me. And I've really worked on a lot of balance and letting things go and delegating things, because she's so right. You know, my husband said it took him years to get me to stop working at night. And sometimes I still do.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It brings you joy.
It does.
So, last question of our lightning round. So, when an author is first starting out, should they make the effort, or is it worth considering making the effort? I don't like the shoulds. Is it worth thinking about making the effort to go to cons and in-person reader events, or wait until they've hit a certain level?
It changed my career to go to my first event for authors and then to my first event for readers. And I did both my first year, I think it was. I say do it because you're going to meet people, you're going to have ideas, you're going to talk. My favorite part, even back then, I didn't attend many of the classes. I don't like, I just don't like going to classes. Even though I was a nerd, and I was literally
Salutatorian,
salutatorian in high school, even though I can't pronounce it. And I have 2 degrees. I have a BA in neuroscience and a BS in biology.
Nice.
So I was a super dork, but I like sitting at the bar. And I literally, when I went to Book Bonanza, my husband and I, we sat at the bar, and an author who I know comes up, author who I didn't meet in person comes up, readers come, like everybody just, magic happens when you're just sitting there and open to receiving conversations, and then ideas come up and partnerships happen. And it's really a beautiful thing.
That's awesome. Love that. So we need to come up with a question of the week here, Willow, that our listeners can kind of dig into here. We can ask about these 2025 trends. We can ask about cons or special editions or anything. Is there anything you'd like to know?
I think it's what's missing for indie authors, which I think I also have the answer to. Is that cheating?
If you spoil it, maybe. I don't know. You could ask.
Question, yeah. What is missing for indie authors right now?
What do you think?
That is the question that I do have an answer to. But I think that there's a lot that is going to, obviously, every 3 months, there's a shift in algorithms or marketing or the publishing or the writing side. There's something always changing. But yeah, I'd like that to be the conversation. What is missing? Because once we identify it, then we can make it happen.
Yes, you can answer that question of the week over at somewherebookshow.com or at the Somewhere Book Show After Party Facebook group. Willow, this is exciting. Let's record another episode for next week, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But it's been so nice having you here. Everyone should go to willowwinterswrites.com, check out all the amazing stuff you're doing. But I really appreciate you being here this week.
I appreciate being on. It was absolutely fabulous.
Yay, awesome. Well, Willow will be back next week. Everybody have a great week of book selling, and we'll be back for episode 562. Bye.
Bye.